Hello everyone and welcome to this week's reviews. Disney continues its current trend of turning their animated classics into live action with this new take on the story of a street rat who finds a magical lamp and unleashes a genie. This is Aladdin. In terms of the current crop of live action Disney redos, I would put Aladdin in the middle pack. There are things I appreciate, while other elements did not quite work for me. To start with what I liked, Aladdin and Jasmine were really charming and likable, and I thought they had sweet chemistry. The film progresses their romance quite nicely, and Mina Massoud and Naomi Scott both give good performances. The big question for many people is Will Smith. He makes the smart decision to go in his own direction, and I never found myself comparing Smith to Robin Williams at any point. He's a lot of fun in the role, and I thought the additions to the Genie character, including more screen time as he stands by Aladdin's side at the palace, also worked in making this interpretation its own thing. While this movie follows the basic story template of the animated film, the filmmakers also went in a number of different directions that I appreciated, including the depiction of the Sultan and even looking at Agrabah's place in the world. It's not a shot-for-shot recreation, and that's okay. Where the movie fell short for me was disappointingly in the musical numbers. I never felt they had quite the pizzazz in the orchestration and staging, and I'm not sure whether this is the fault of the production designer or the cinematographer, but there were parts where the film looked surprisingly cheap. And Friend Like Me being turned into a hip-hop number? Yeah, I was not a fan. Another disappointing element was Jafar. The intent with this Jafar seemed to be to ground him, but as a result he became too much of a bore, and I never found him to be a threatening villain. The movie also runs too long, which I especially felt during the climax. There was a lot of padding, including giving Jasmine an unnecessary new song to sing. Overall, Aladdin is an okay experience. It does a lot of things right, while also somewhat lacking in other areas. Next up, we know the origin of Superman, but what would happen if he was not quite so full of hope? That question is explored in Brightburn. Watching this movie, it's clear what serves as inspiration, and that pre-existing audience knowledge gives it a leg up to explore some interesting themes. While the superhero and horror elements are major focal points of Brightburn, the filmmakers still give attention to character and thematic ideas. The movie is primarily about the unpredictability of parenthood and watching one's child grow up. I liked how the film showed the parents of their adopted son deal with the changes he is undergoing when he turns 12. There is uncertainty they're feeling as they see his emotions become more complex and at times scary. A large chunk of the film is spent on this and getting to know the Breyer family. Elizabeth Banks is especially good as the matriarch Tori, and David Denman also does good work as the father. Brightburn also surprisingly avoids being too cheeky, even as it twists the classic superhero origin tropes. Nobody ever says the word superhero, for instance. Eventually, the horror aspects do pop out, as it becomes a rather conventional slasher film. David Yarovesky does direct those sequences with the necessary horror style, although he goes over the top in certain scenes. This is a gruesome, gory film, not unlike the horror films of the 80s it borrows quite a bit from. There was certainly one moment I had a hard time watching, so consider this a warning for the easily squeamish. Brightburn does not flinch on its R rating. In the end, I thought this was a solid, well-acted horror film that serves as an interesting alternative to the current large-scale crop of superhero movies. I like how we're seeing all sorts of superhero films emerging that explore different genres in creative ways. Thanks for watching this week's reviews, and I'll see you next time.